I've been talking about this for actually a month and a half or two now. That last week I talked about U.S. Possibly losing its reserve currency status. If that happens, watch out. I think it'll be horrible, but I don't think it will happen anytime soon, probably not in my lifetime. Although U.S. is wielding its sanction power through, forcing it basically because we have the world's reserve currency status, but then petrodollars went away after 50, 60 years. Now, obviously, the BRICS, as we know, have been working on their own SWIFT system for interbank exchanges or money transfers. The other thing now that is happening is that look, we are supporting Ukraine, obviously, sending him, I don't know, a couple hundred billion so far. And we obviously, if we don't like a country like Russia, and if they don't stay in line, we just go slap sanctions on them. And our friends in Europe obviously always follow. And when you slap sanctions on a country, it debilitates them. It really just sucks the dollars out of their systems. And dollars are used for everything, right? Because of the world reserve currency status, it's used for trade, exporting, importing, all that stuff, right? And so what happens is that we cripple countries such as Russia that has invaded Ukraine, and we're backing Ukraine. Russia would have gone through Ukraine in a week if we weren't sending them a couple hundred billion and all the missiles and all the weapons. So there is definitely a point to talk about world's reserve currency power being used during the sanctioning periods. And but these people are not stupid either on the other side. So the BRICS especially are trying to move away from the US dollar. And I've talked about it many times. There is a lot of content on the channel. You can go check it out. And so the first topic I'm going to talk about now, Russia, they have been truly crippled, right, with the sanctions, and then dollars are leaving the system. And Russia is launching a cryptocurrency exchange, at least trial for cross-border payments, because when you slap sanctions on somebody and take away the dollars from their systems, well, they have to still transact, right? How are they going to do that? Are they going to do it in rubles and Japanese yen or in Chinese yuan? They have to do something, right? There has to be some cross-border exchange, and they're going to try it. Now, I'm not saying this is going to be bullish for Bitcoin specifically or any other crypto, but this kind of proves that the sanctions are effective, and these countries are turning to different methods to survive. And in a move to circumvent Western restrictions, which is sanctions, the Russian government has announced plans to launch regulated trials of cryptocurrency exchanges for cross-border payments starting on September 1. I think this is something very important to note. Again, I'm not saying this is bullish or bearish for Bitcoin. I'll have actually a segment coming up shortly regarding Michael Saylor, the all-in Bitcoin gentleman at MicroStrategy. But so according to the sources familiar with the plan, Russia will utilize its national payment card system to facilitate the exchange of rubles into cryptocurrencies for international transactions. Will it work? Is the cryptocurrency, look, the Bitcoin system is safe. We know that. It's been kind of proven that proof of concept is there. But, is it going to be enough? Because Russia is as the largest exporter of oil and natural gas around the globe. Is it going to be enough? Is it going to be able to sustain itself? These exchanges are very fragile. We know what happened with FTX. We know what happened with, a bunch of other exchanges. All those transactions going through these exchanges, are there going to be any shenanigans? I don't know. But, they are trying. And it goes to show that there is a move around the globe going away from US dollars as reserve currency. So the NPCS, which is their national payment card system, which currently handles ruble-denominated interbank settlements, will be adapted to support these crypto-based payment trials. And look, this is the natural progression of U.S. dollar slowly losing its reserve currency status, and the upcoming trials in Russia are part of broader efforts by BRICS. As I said, last couple of months, I talked quite a bit about this, the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, to reduce the reliance on US dollar in international trade. Exactly what I've been talking about last couple of minutes, a process known as de-dollarization. I agree. I mean, look, the dollar is the dollar, although it has been the reserve currency of the globe forever now. Slowly but surely, these countries are figuring out that collectively their economy, although it may not be as large as the U.S. economy, we do. Last week's video was really, really great. I think I urge all of you to go check it out. It talks about how we actually use the world's reserve currency as a hammer on these countries. Like we do it with Venezuela, we do it, and look what's happening. Half of Venezuela is in the U.S. now illegally, right? I mean, there are repercussions of what we're doing here. We can't just say we're the angels of the world and then we don't cripple these countries. Look what happened to Cuba, right? I mean, look, I mean, those are facts. When we slap sanctions on these countries, these people, there is only 360 million people in the U.S. There's close to 8 billion people on the globe. I mean, 360 million people ruling the lives of what they do locally in their own neighborhoods, in their own states and cities and countries. I think it's a little bit over the top as far as I'm concerned. So, and these BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa are trying to figure out what to do, how to get away from the reliance on U.S. dollar being the reserve currency. The BRICS alliance has been actively exploring alternative payment systems, including the potential use of cryptocurrencies, so to insulate their economies from American financial influence. And that's exactly what we do. We financially influence these countries. We slap the sanctions. We drain their systems out of dollars. Every exchange, I mean, every trade, every dollar's worth of trade is done by U.S. dollars, obviously. And if you don't have access to U.S. dollars, what are you going to do, right? And it's a tough situation for everybody involved, especially these countries. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But this is an interesting development. I mean, I'm going to follow up on this, obviously. Will it work? I'm not sure, because the amount of trade is trillions of dollars around the globe. Are these exchanges going to be able to handle the exchange from local currencies to cryptocurrencies, and then that has to be converted back again, right? Because once the payment is done back and forth between two countries, it has to be converted to local currency again. But again, something to keep an eye on, something to talk about at your dinner table tonight, possibly.